We are previewing UFC 153 here at SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak, and I am joined by Nick Kalikas, MMA oddsmaker, and Adam Martin, an MMA reporter from The Score. Now, guys, we're going to talk about Dave Herman and Antonio Nogueira. Now, Nogueira is a minus 250 favorite here. Obviously, you know, he should be a big favorite. I guess the main question is his arm was broken in his last fight. How much of a factor is that? Let's start with you, Adam Martin. Do you think that's a big factor? Or you think like you're just ignoring it?
No, I mean, like, you know, I've talked to his coach, and he says he's 100%. I mean, but I never believe a guy when he says that.
Right.
I mean, that injury against Frank Mir was, you know, pretty brutal. He was supposed to fight Chia Congo in the summer, had to pull out because the recovery took too long. So, I mean, I have my questions about Big Nog in this fight. I mean, you know, on paper, he should win the fight. He's in Brazil, and we saw what he did to Brendan Schaub a couple of years ago and, you know, motivated in Brazil. But, I mean, I don't know, man. With so many question marks about him, he's, you know, getting older now. He's pretty slow. You know, against an athletic guy like Herman. I mean, I don't know. I don't like Dave Herman. I'm like Luca Fury. I bet against this guy, but I mean, with the amount of questions I have about Nogueira, I just don't know if it's worth a play. I mean, I do pick him to win, but I don't know if he's worth a bet.
Right. You see this a lot of times in sports betting where there's like question marks that don't really point to one side. Question marks that kind of like make you want to stay away from the fight altogether from betting perspective. Nick, has the action on this one been relatively low?
Yeah, another one that's up and down too. You know, they've started getting initial action on Nogueira, then you're seeing, or I'm sorry, on Herman, then we've seen the action come back on Nogueira. So, you know, as far as talent goes, the superior fighter is by far Nogueira.
Right,
but I agree with a lot of what Adam has to say. I mean, that injury in the hands of Frank Mir was nasty, really nasty. You're not sure how somebody's going to recover from that.
And
how
what was
well
that, December?
Yeah, it wasn't long ago, really.
Yeah.
I mean, he had enough time to recover, but for me, man, I mean, he was looking over the hill at that point. Then adding an injury like that, you know what I mean? He's a little bit beyond his years, really, because he's been in so many battles with MMA. So there's a lot of question marks, as you said, around Nogueira. Now, I can't lay the juice on that. I'm almost tempted to bet Dave Herman, not because he's even better on the feet.
Right.
It's just he does have knockout power. Like Adam said, he's very athletic. So if you're going to bet this fight, I think it's dog or pass. I don't think you could really lay the juice on Nogueira, even though he has looked pretty good, though. If you look back at the Schaub knockout, nobody was expecting him to really knock out Brendan Schaub. Well, I think on this show we kind of said it was possible because he was being overrated a little bit, Schaub was. But, you know, he's looked good in each fight. Even against Frank Mir in that loss, he looked good. He was beating Mir before he got caught.
Yeah.
So I think he's looked okay. But Dave Herman is just a little bit too dangerous for him. I mean, Nog's chin is a little bit more suspect, and coming with the age, the injury, the time off, you can't bet that juice. You'd be crazy kind of to lay the juice.
So is this going to be a decision for you guys? You think you're going to be like even?
No, we're going to actually need the dog here, Dave Herman. I'd rather, take that risk a little bit. And it's not going to be anything huge, but I would rather let the public bet Nog a little bit.
Right.
And, you know, if the books lose a little bit, they're not going to be too broke. But at the same time, they're going to make a lot more money if he does go down. So I think we'll be cheering for Herman upset here.
All right, Adam Martin, before we move on, gun to your head, if you had to make a bet on this fight, which would it be?
I'd probably go with Big Nog inside the distance. I mean, I have questions about Herman's chin as well. He's been knocked out in his last two fights, and I mean, Nogueira, he's got such underrated boxing. He's got very heavy hands, and people don't give him enough credit for it. So if I was to make a pick, it would be Nogueira by knockout. But again, I just have too many questions about him at this point, and I'm just going to pass on this one.